The PersonaForge prompt, Promptology reading. There are three parts to any good super prompt design. The system prompt, which sets context and persona, the work element, and the output. When you're looking at the system prompt, it helps set context for the session. The person informs the AI of the role they will play. This informs things like conversational style and provides a frame of reference for the AI to help the user of the prompt. Of course, the irony here is this prompt is designed to create the persona for you to use in other testing prompts. The work section is describing to the prompt what you want it to do. This is the opportunity for you to supercharge any prompt by injecting your expertise. More on that in a little bit. The output describes how you want the results of the conversations delivered. This, of course, can be a simple prompt, but a lot of the AIs like ChatGPT can actually do really clever things, like deliver tables of information or even tags ready for to use in, say, YouTube, for example. Let's get started. Here's the first part of the prompt. Hey, ChatGPT, we have a fun exercise to do today. Being nice to a large language model like a ChatGPT or a Claude 2 from a programming perspective is such a waste. From a communication perspective, it's absolutely vital. Prompts are designed this way just seem to work better and be more resilient. When I read a prompt written like a program, it's demanding of the large language model. It just feels wrong. Greeting people is an absolute must in communication where you work together to get a result. Using a person's name is the sweetest and most important sound. Thanks, Dale Carnegie. It's funny, when I was testing Claude 2, which right now, by the way, as I read this, is king of free LMs for super prompts, that's of July 2023, I accidentally posted ChatGPT instead of Claude. I used the wrong name. I felt so bad. You're horrified when you call people the wrong name to the point where you may not communicate with them out of fear you get it wrong. So let's use the AI's name. It never hurts to be nice. So here we're setting the objective, and I'll let you read it. By the way, there's a full PDF report of this presentation and all of the info in the link below. Because what we're doing here in the system prompt is all about setting the context of the session. So we're explaining the task for today. Notice the "can you help me" part. Of course, the answer is always yes, but in communication, framing a request to get help is a lot friendlier than giving an order. Sure, you can give a subordinate an order, they'll do it, but you make a withdrawal from the communication bank account. But Ed, the AI has no context, no memory. This is true. However, it will have a memory, and two, let's not be an ass. If we start communicating with our AI like it's an interrogation instead of a conversation, this starts bleeding over into our communications with our human colleagues who do have memories and know where you live. So the emphasis, sorry, little inside joke there, of the system prompt. Role play here is not necessary, but hey, if you're here and you're ready to go and you want to start exploring the niche, have at it. This is what happened to me when I was creating the prompt, and it felt pretty natural to whip out my checklist and start asking questions about the personas markets. Looking at this section and the outputs we've seen the prompt generate, and indeed the differences in the prompt outputs, I think I'd probably rewrite this section. For the purposes of the PersonaForge process and the objectives of this prompt, look, it isn't needed. This is an opportunity, however, for expertise injection. What is this expertise injection that I've been talking about? I really think it's your secret sauce. Look, we'll be exploring this concept a lot in upcoming prompt design. You can inject your prompts with your expertise, the hard-won knowledge and experience in your niche. In the challenge market testing process, for example, we have a very specific set of tests. We don't need a generic checklist. Spoiler alert, that's what we'll be doing in our next prompt. I always get excited testing stuff, and in reviewing this, I'd probably take this out. In some ways, I think the prompt is a sales letter. I'm super intrigued how copywriting and prompt engineering seem to be cut from the same cloth. Both at their core are about using the written word to encourage a response, an action from the reader. I'm really intrigued to explore this as we continue our work together. Now, a little commercial break. We are using GitHub, and this prompt, the PersonaForge prompt, is in a repository on GitHub, and if you search for PersonaForge 2, you'll find it. There is no one because I stuffed up creating that one, so this is number 2. I asked ChatGPT to explain GitHub like I'm a 10-year-old in a couple of sentences, and this is what it came up with. GitHub is a website where people can store and share code for a computer program. It's like a big library where anyone can check code in and out. Developers use GitHub to work together on projects more easily. For example, if I was building an app with my friend, we could both store our code on GitHub. That way we can see each other's work and make changes more easily without having to email files back and forth. And we can also keep track of the changes over time and go back to old versions if we need to. GitHub lets lots of people work together on the same projects. So it's a bit like a school library where anyone can access the books, but for code instead. That's pretty good. Thanks, ChatGPT. But honestly, most of you listening, watching, reading this, don't stress about it for now. I think GitHub is going to be really important for prompt development as well. So I've created a repository for the prompt so you can all help contribute and we can evolve it together. Look, I'll do a series later on this, but I wanted you people who know your way around GitHub to know this is happening. There is a link to this presentation and a link to GitHub all below. Here we go. Let's get into the work section of our prompt. And I always call this prompt process. My thinking here is it helps the large language model to organize itself and emphasizes the step-by-step nature of what we want to do in the session. This is pure speculation on my part, but at the very least, it makes the prompt easier to read. It's how I'd outline a complex task to a team member. So that's my philosophy here. I had the pleasure of recording a podcast with Jason Effort. He's a really amazing, talented coach who coaches salon and spa owners. And he said a very interesting thing at this live podcast recording that we did. He says he feels working with AIs like ChatGPT is making him a better manager. He's learning to be clearer in his direction after working with ChatGPT. It's pretty cool. And actually, I completely agree. Let's get into setting the persona and let's get introductions. In reviewing this prompt now, I think I'd probably put all of this in the system prompt section. The system prompt is all about context and persona. So I'll do another version on GitHub with this in the system prompt. It'll be interesting to see if it alters much. Two things to consider here. I suspect it's probably better to put check-in pieces in the prompt process in specific places. When you are designing your prompts, use your experience to figure out where you need to check in and get feedback. This is another opportunity for you to use expertise injection. If the prompt is designed to be interactive, aka a conversation of any kind, then using a person's name is really vital. All right, let's get cracking. We've got straight down to business. So in the next version of this prompt, I'll ask the AI to explain the process. You could script the explanation and insert it into the prompt. I don't. I love the surprise factor of having the AI explain the process we're about to do. The AI typically brings in the personality you've set in the system section, which is really cool. Now, here's the thing. And this is total speculation. If I'm working with a coaching client, I always ask them to repeat the action steps to me at the end of the session. This is to make sure they have picked up what I placed down, as the kids say. I can really stuff that up, I'm sure. By having the AI state the task at the start of the session, my speculation is it helps the AI stay on track. This will be a cool experiment for someone to conduct and write up a paper on. Now, with the rubber hitting the road, there's a couple of things to consider here. I probably could have said any number and the AI would happily do it. The mild science to go with why I picked 3 is this old nugget. The singular path leaves no footprint. Or 1 way, no way, 2 ways, meh, 3 ways, yay. I think that's the way we can do it. I think it's important to have the word diverse in there as well. Without getting into the politics of it, although I'm happy to, AI models can trend a little towards information science demographic when you don't ask for diversity in the prompt. Specifying diverse in your niche seems like the smart play. Remember, we're going to be role-playing later, so reflecting the diverse nature of your particular niche will be really important. I suspect, without any proof, my super prompt designs hold up a bit better because I do repeat instructions. It's just like I would when I'm explaining something to a colleague. Remember, our core philosophy is we are communicating, not programming. When you're communicating for maximum retention, you repeat the parts you want the person you are talking to retain. Let's bring our expertise into the game. These are some of the elements in the next couple of slides that we want to bring to the market testing table. And this is yet again another example of expertise injection. In this case, we combined our knowledge with the AI. In this case, it was ChatGPT. What information did it need to help create a persona for us? So I merged both of those and we got these results. Now I've said here, please deliver your results in a well laid out report I can use for future prompts. Just a note on layout, ChatGPT 4 does this particularly well. Hey, if you're going to have an output, a report, why not make it neat and tidy instead of one long paragraph? Don't assume it will happen. You can easily tell it how to output. Here's an example of injecting a check-in. A good coach always checks in to make sure what they're saying is landing. And so we're doing that at this point in the process. Then, of course, we create the prompts that we can use. This is effectively the output section of the prompt. Look, we don't need examples. I just threw that in there to see what the AI would suggest as a test. In the Claude 2 versus ChatGPT 4 showdown, which I did in a recent video, ChatGPT did way better in this assignment. Number 4, that is, not 3.5. It'd be interesting to see for people working with Claude 2, how they would modify the prompt to get it working better for this output. I was wondering if it was using the word persona. Perhaps if we'd used the word character, it might have worked better for Claude. But that'll be, again, something to test. But here's the great thing, right? Unlike our long-suffering work colleagues, AI has infinite patience for our testing, so we can just test. Well, at least until you hit the rate limit for ChatGPT 4 every day. Oh, just one thing, and there's a link there. Remember, I'll be publishing all of my prompts and prompts editions on GitHub for people to use and contribute to. I'll explain why I see this so important in an upcoming video. GitHub is intimidating for non-programmers. I think it'll be an awesome place for collaborating on prompts. This link here is where you can access the PersonaForge prompt, and of course, it's in the report and it's clickable down below in the description. Now, gang, don't forget to like and subscribe. I also have a newsletter called The Little Blue Report, where I publish all my reports like this and all sorts of other musings on how we can use AI to design, test, and scale an online business. If you found this video valuable, if you could like, subscribe, let me know in the comments if you're using this prompt. I'd love to hear how it worked for you and what results you got. So there you have it. That's the PromptForge breakdown. Final time. There's a link below so you can get a full PDF of the entire report. You can get a link to the GitHub repository so you can take the prompt and play for it for yourself. And of course, also in the link below will be the actual prompt text itself. Okay, so you can just literally cut and paste. With that, thanks so much, everybody. I'm recording this on my second last day in Hawaii. I'll be back to Melbourne after a really great conference here and really look forward to seeing you all again. Enjoy, and we will speak soon.